Hey guys, my name is Rachel from the baking channel Kawaiisweetworld, and today we are making this adorable springtime cake. This cake is one of those things that looks super fancy, but it's actually really easy to do. If you can doodle in your notebook, then you can definitely make this cake, and it would be perfect for Mother's Day too, which is coming up really soon. So let's get started. First off, we are making a homemade yellow cake. You're going to need 1 cup or 2 sticks of softened butter. To that, you're going to add in 2 cups of granulated sugar. And just cream that until it gets nice and light and fluffy. Now, one at a time, I'm going to add in 4 eggs. And you're just going to mix after each addition. Then we're going to add in 2 egg yolks. This will just add extra richness to the cake. And just mix those in too. Now in a separate bowl, you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Go ahead and add in 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And a ½ teaspoon of salt. And just give that all a whisk. Now we are going to alternate adding the dry ingredients along with 2 cups of buttermilk. So I've just added in about 1/3 of the dry mixture. Then I'm going to add in half of the buttermilk, another 1/3 of dry mixture, the rest of the buttermilk, and then finish it off with the rest of the dry ingredients. Then we're just going to evenly divide this between 2 8-inch cake tins that have been buttered and floured. This doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to get it as even as possible. Then we're going to bake these up at 350 for about 25 minutes. Once they come out of the oven, let them cool for about 10 minutes, then run a knife around the edge. And then just flip this out onto your cooling rack. Now all you have to do is remove your cake tin. And if you've buttered and floured your cake tin, then it should come out all in one piece. Then just let both of your cakes cool completely before you start to frost them. Here I have a rotating cake stand, which is super helpful, and I also have 3 strips of parchment paper on it. This way we can remove the strips later and we won't get any frosting onto our cake stand. So I've just placed a dollop of frosting on top of the first layer, and I'm using my offset spatula to spread it out and get it nice and even. Then I'm going to place the second layer of cake on top and make sure the flat side is up. This is going to be so much easier to frost. And then I'm just going to cover the whole cake with a really thin coat of frosting just to seal in all of the crumbs. This is also called a crumb coat, by the way. And the great thing about this cake is that you actually don't need to do a second coat of frosting. Now for our really simple but pretty design, I'm just going to pipe out 4 dollops of frosting. Then I'm going to use the back of a spoon to just kind of smear them out. This technique is awesome because it doesn't take a lot of skill, it just takes a little bit of patience. And I also repeated this design on top as well. And by the way, the recipe for this buttercream frosting can be found in the description box below. Once you're all done, your cake should look something like this. The decorations for the cake are also really easy. You're just going to place some melted candy melts into a piping bag, and by the way, you can buy candy melts at any craft store. Then you're just going to pipe out your flour onto some wax paper by just making little loops all the way around the flour. For my cake, I decided to do an ombre design, so I just made the bigger flowers darker and then gradually went to smaller and lighter colored flowers. And by the way, the little yellow sugar pearls can be purchased at the craft store. Once your flowers have set, just go ahead and gently peel them off of the wax paper. Just the flowers alone I feel like are so pretty, you could just serve them as is, but of course we're just going to put them on our cake now. For the bigger flowers, I'm just cutting a slit in the top of the cake. But the other ones along the front of the cake can just be pressed into the frosting. This is when the cake really starts to come together, and although it may seem like a lot of work, each step is actually really easy. And I also piped out the word love onto some wax paper and then put it on top of my cake. Alright, cake is finished now. As I said earlier, this would be so perfect for Mother's Day, especially if you replaced the word love with mom or something. And I bet your mom would be so impressed that you made her such a fancy looking cake. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to DreamWorks TV.